ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today for the media briefing here. Okay, we have Vitaly here. Vitaly is the Director of APAC Global Research and Analysis Team from Kaspersky Lab. Okay, he's also seconded to Interpol, and Vitaly has been researching on xDedic for a while. So yeah, let's go on to presentation. So Vitaly, can you take over?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'd like to thank you for everyone who joined us today for this session. We are going to talk about our recent announcement known as xDedic, and essentially this is a marketplace and eBay for hacked servers, so to say. This is what we are going to talk about today. Brief introduction of myself. I've been with Kaspersky Lab for over 11 years now. About two years ago, I moved to Singapore, where I'm currently based in, and I'm heading the team of researchers in APAC. We're currently growing the team, and we'll be focusing more and more on threats that affect APAC infrastructure. So let's start straight away from the xDedic case. xDedic is a marketplace that offers so-called RDP, or Remote Desktop Protocol, accounts for sale. And now, most of you are probably familiar with RDP. This is the protocol and service implemented by Microsoft in their Windows family operating systems. And this is typically used by system administrators to administer and manage remote systems. However, the bad guys found another way, and they explain the usage of RDP from a different angle, from their side, so to say. This is what they posted on their website. So the first, you can use RDP to register accounts in banks when they require specific geolocation. You may use that to use shops, payment systems, dating sites, and others. Then you can do shopping for various sites, sending money, and so on, do some financial transactions. And shopping in criminal world means using somebody else's credit card information or maybe payment system credentials to purchase some goods online and then deliver them overseas somewhere, perhaps in Eastern Europe. Then the criminals use RDP to install poker, casino, different type of gambling software, which they can use to do money laundering. Of course, they can be used for sending out spam, hosting Trojans, viruses, backdoors. Rarely they may be used as dedicated gaming servers just for fun. But general purpose of RDP server usage is to convert it into the SOX proxy or a VPN server, which just helps hiding the real IP internet address of the fraudster. So let's move on. This is how xDedic website looked like yesterday, because currently the website is down due to collaborative efforts and assistance from a number of ISPs. The communication channels that were used by this website were cut off. So far it is down, and I'm happy to announce that. But yesterday it looked just like this. It was a surface website, means you didn't need any specific software. You could use the browser just to go there, to register, use username and password, and get to the marketplace. They were very careful about controlling the price for stolen credentials, and they were eager to create some kind of fair price trading. Sorry, I guess there was some misclick with them. Then they had interesting tips for the buyers of the RDP credentials. First of all, they recommended to use their custom xDedic RDP client. That's a software that they can use to connect to these machines. Although there is a standard Windows RDP client software, they have a bit more, excuse me, user Regina, I think you're clicking on the wrong place. So that just shows that they had development skills, and they implemented custom software to let their customers use stolen credentials more efficiently. Then they recommended to create a different account. Once they purchase a stolen account and they log into the server, and they must create another one to further conceal their activities. For users like those running Windows Home editions, like Windows Vista 7, 8, and 10, by default, Windows RDP doesn't allow multiple users to connect to these systems, and they implemented a patch that enables multiple user sessions. Then they recommended to clean up logs, of course, after work is done, and use indirect connections. So going through another VPN or SOX layer will be enough to hide the real IP. Well, in a nutshell, xDedic is an underground marketplace which facilitates the selling and purchasing of RDP servers, as you learned. And it's quite a professional service. It's been around for quite a while. From our estimation, it started somewhere in mid-2012. It has own tech support. It has a custom-developed tools, friend admins that will help you with all the problems. They do also have scam protection. So if somebody tries to submit fake credentials, maybe just to put the positions and trick someone, that will not work because they actually verify each and every submission. They log into the server, they collect system information, make screenshot, and confirm that the server is online and account is valid before putting that on sale. So in total, they have over 70,000 servers available for sale. Just yesterday, I think it was 72.5. So this number is from the beginning of the month. And not surprisingly, that this huge number of servers includes some of them that are based in governmental networks, maybe corporate networks, ISPs, telcos, universities, within ministries of education, healthcare, and so on. You can find nearly anything. Now talking about the numbers and how they grow, here you can see with the blue bars the total number of servers on the marketplace, and with the green bars new servers, so those that were added. So in May of this year, this last month, there was up to 10,000 new servers, new credentials added to the marketplace. And all of them are unique, of course. Now, where are these servers? Let's look into top 10. So this is top 10 servers for sale by country for as of May 2016. You can see here Brazil, China, and Russia in top 3, and then follows India and Malaysia in the 10th place. There are some notable breaches. When we looked into the IP information we got, there were some of them located in aerospace company from US, banks from a number of countries, chemical companies from Singapore and Thailand, construction companies, oil companies, and those are pretty serious infections because each and every server can be used just as a launchpad for other attacks. And now mentioned that the cost of the server averagely is about $7 to $8. It costs almost nothing to get into the important network and do much more serious attack and bring a lot of damage. That's why it is important. So talking about APAC specifically, I put up this map with a number of servers, so feel free to make screenshots, or if you need the original image, we can send it to you upon request. What you can see here is that the distribution is apparently unequal. Probably it is related to the development of infrastructure in general. Maybe it also reflects the interest of the bad guys to use specific IPs in the countries. For instance, in the top 10, I showed you before, there was no United States, and I was quite surprised by that. Because United States might have a lot of servers, huge infrastructure, but it's not there. Does it mean that it's secure? Probably not. I guess that US is probably, there much more interest in US IPs rather than in IPs from some other countries, which is why it's just the fact that US IPs are being sold quicker. So when you look at these numbers on this map, it's from one side, you can think that there are probably more unprotected infrastructure and servers that nobody cares about, or from the other perspective, it also reflects the interest of the bad guys. So the more servers you have, the least is their interest. Well, I just wanted to show you an example for Singapore, because this is where I'm based in. It's position 29, 743 offerings as of beginning of this month. And this is the trend of adding new servers per month. If you're interested in similar charts for your country, please let us know, and we can possibly build and send it to you. But overall, I built this chart just to show new added servers for APAC. You can see just new additions. And there was some technical issue with the marketplace. Seems so. In February 16, I guess they were down for some time, and that's why there were no servers added until end of month, and that's why there is a drop in numbers. I guess they also had similar issue in July 2015. So these numbers here, for example, 1087 illustrates that in January of 2016, in country with the gray color, which is China, 1,087 new stolen credentials were added to the marketplace. Well, if you're wondering how we actually worked in this case and found the compromised servers, it was not very easy, and that's why it took us a couple of months. Well, the bad guys protect the internet address information of the marketplace. They show you only first two numbers from the IP address, and IP address normally consists of 4. So they don't show you the full address of the compromised server, apparently to protect it from the ISPs, from the servers that may actually sneak into the marketplace and then take down the compromised server. You could pay some money to get full IP address, but we felt that this is not the way to go, and we decided to go the other way. So we noticed that some of these servers contain custom xDedic tools placed on them, and some others have even a backdoor. So one of the group that was trading servers on xDedic used the backdoor that guaranteed that even if the account on the server is locked or removed by the owner, they can still get access to the server, create another account, and put it on sale again. So what we did, we hold the command control center of that backdoor and managed to see the incoming connections. That's how we reviewed the full IPs. Now, talking about some other tools that were placed on the servers, that includes xDedic RDP client. This is what was developed by the guys. Actually, it was not put on the servers, but it was offered to the buyers. Why it was a custom RDP client? Because they wanted to implement a feature to copy IP address, port, login, and password with one click from the website. And then the buyer could use one click on button paste to transfer this information to the tool, and with another click connect and start working with the server. It just saved time. They put this tool on the GitHub, and you can see the number of downloads illustrated here, which probably shows the minimal number of attackers that bought credentials on this marketplace. Some other tools include xDedic RTP patch, which enabled multiple users to log into home editions of Windows. And another tool to create additional accounts very quickly with one click called xRTP. And here you can see that there is a description about this tool in Russian language. And this is not the only place where we have seen Russian language is used to be, the main communication language in the group. We've seen that in the code comments. We've seen that in their frequently asked questions, in their support side, and so on. So we believe that the group behind this xDedic marketplace is at least Russian-speaking. Most likely, some of them even live in Russia. Another tool included xDedic SOC system. This is when you want to use RDP server just to proxify your connections and use application on your desktop, and you want to make it communicate with the rest of the internet on behalf of that compromised machine, just to impersonate you if you're a criminal. Well, now as a researcher, I've been working on many reports and many frequently asked questions for publications, and I have to admit that these guys are very good in writing documentation because they write really idiot-proof description of the procedures and also FAQs. So I wanted to share with you some of them, a diagram that they used to explain what to do if you have a problem with RDP server. So let's go to the diagram. Problem with RDP? No. Find user. Yes. You have to read the FAQ. Did you read the FAQ? No, I'm not. Then go read the FAQ. Okay, we read the FAQ. Did you find the solution after FAQ reading? No solution there. So then you have to go and read FAQ again. And did you find the solution after FAQ reading? No. Maybe you found it. And yes, problem solved. Thanks. So they put a few such diagrams for the customers, probably just to remove all these unnecessary questions they may receive. How do they make money? The owners of the marketplace probably don't even put any compromised servers on the marketplace. They just provide the platform, and the others trade there, and they can get some kind of fraction of each transaction being made there. Now, if somebody is wondering, like, is an RDP illegal? This is where they try to justify this. They say that many Russian criminals, Russian hackers trade RDP access, and what important they mention is that you should remember that buying RDP access doesn't make you an owner of that RDP. It's like you only have keys from the car that you don't own, and you can use the car while the real owner doesn't see that. Once he notices you, he can change locks and keys. So nothing bad here. We just took a car when the owner wasn't using it. This is how they justify it. As for payment methods, they accept Bitcoins currently and web money. Web money is a payment system initially introduced in Russia. Who are these sellers? We counted 416 registered sellers on xDedic Marketplace, and this is a chart showing the activity of these sellers. You can see that there is one successful trader there, Mr. UFO System, managed to offer more than 16,000 compromised accounts. Well, many others. Well, how do they get into the service? That's probably the first question you have in your mind. Well, we don't think there is any kind of zero-day vulnerability currently in Microsoft RDP servers, but what they use is very simple password brute forcing for the administrator account. So it is possible to do even for a script kiddie, to scan the internet space for open RDP port, and then run some of the already existing tools to brute force password for the administrator account. Once you find it, you create a new account and you put the account on sale to the marketplace. But that's probably not the only way how they get in. It could be also some vulnerable software, another network service exposed to the internet, and due to vulnerability in this, it can be leveraged to get shell on the server, then enable RDP service, create account, and put it on sale. They carefully create a server profile, which means they collect information about every server which is compromised, and they tag them by different interesting points. So some of them include finding in the history of the browser access to known websites such as online gambling and betting. They check if this server is known and blacklisted by a number of online shops or trading systems, internet banking and payment systems, and so on. You can see a number of icons on the right that they used to visually tag those servers. So, for example, Google icon here will mean that the server is not blacklisted by Google. So you can use that to perhaps somehow abuse Google services, or let's say Airbnb here. You got Amazon here, AT&T, a few others like Skrill. I think this is WebMoney, Western Union, Apple, Resources, and so on. So all these icons were fetched from the xDedic marketplace. Some other interesting attacks include spam and attacking tools, gambling and financial software to launder money, and POS software. Point of sales terminals that are exposed to the internet can also get compromised. And here you can see the chart of point of sale systems and its distribution by countries. Spam and attacking tools is also quite interesting because that means that the owner of the server himself uses some tools to send out spam. And what it means for the buyer, that means that the buyer can also send some spam without any concern, because when the owner, the legitimate owner of the server, will receive an abuse message from some ISP about mass mailing coming from his IP, he will probably not care about that. It's kind of enables, bulletproof spam feature. Now, this slide actually remained from the presentation I created quite some time before. Unfortunately, I cannot show you the demo of the live system because it was taken down yesterday in the evening, the same time with our announcement. So we gotta skip that. Let's go straight to the what can you do to prevent from being a victim. First of all, the main problem is the weak password and the exposed port. If you use strong passwords, enforce using strong passwords, you're safe. Next, implement continuous process of patch management. Do not forget to patch all your services exposed to the internet, because it can also be a source of compromise and the reason why your IP is listed on such marketplace. Do not forget that in addition to creating a new account or hijacking your password from an administrator account, they may backdoor system with malware, and this is where reliable security solutions should help you detect the presence of the malware on the server. Undertake regular security audits and invest in threat intelligence services. Our company, just as some others, do provide now threat intelligence feed, which means it's a private subscription, a commercial subscription for the reports that you may get from time to time on important matters such as big marketplaces is So our customers or subscribers got information about this marketplace and indicators of compromise months ago, when we were in the process of our research, not ready for the public announcement, but ready for very early heads up. And finally, suggest the customer or the owner of the server to use IP whitelisting policies. If it is possible to disable RDP services, I'll do that. But if there is a business requirement, think about enabling only those IP ranges or only those internet addresses that belong to you, where you connect from. Do not let other script kiddies on the internet just find your exposed open port and then abuse it. So with this, I would like to open the next part with your questions. I would like to answer your questions now. Let me stop sharing the screen and go to the questions. Please write your questions in the chat, and I'll go through them one by one.
Vitaly, Varun here. I would like to ask a question, please.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, Vitaly, two questions. One, are you the primary researcher from Kaspersky on this? And two, any data on, the sale of these RDP, credentials? Any data on servers that have been exploited using these sold credentials?
Okay. Thank you for the question. I was that researched this thread, this marketplace from the beginning. I'm not the only researcher, but I'm one of the few people working on this case. As for your question regarding the if you have confirmation that this has been used in real life, yes, we do. In fact, I forgot to mention that this research started after one of our partner ISPs, major ISPs from a European country, has contacted us on the matter of their customer server, RDP server, being recompromised again and again. So when we looked into the server, we did some forensics, and we found some tools installed on the server, and that included some reference to the xDedic marketplace. This is how we initially found it. So it was based on the real compromised server. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a question. Somebody used smartphone to join the meeting. You couldn't hear anything. So the presentation, I think, was recorded, and it's being recorded still. So maybe you'll be able to get it from our colleagues later to get a link to the video. Okay, another question. Do we have any records of hacking in Philippine government agencies? Not really, no. Well, actually, we don't see how these servers are used. We know that they are there. We can show statistics by country. However, we cannot see how they are used further. So in Philippines, it was 228 servers so far. It was on position 48 in the list. And this is relatively small comparing to other countries in the region. But no, we don't have information about any governmental agencies in Philippines. Another question, what operating systems were compromised? Is it only Windows or Mac and Linux systems too? Well, RDP is a service developed by Microsoft for Microsoft Windows. Although there are RDP clients for other platforms, I don't think there are RDP implementations on other on other platforms such as Linux or Mac. But there are alternative software that may enable similar functionality. However, it is out of scope of this research. So it is just Windows, and all the tools were written for Windows, and we haven't seen any other platform so far. Which sector had the most number of hacked servers? That one is hard to judge also. I know it may be interesting, like which sector is more vulnerable, but for the bad guys, for the attackers, it didn't really matter, because after all, they were going to sell this server for, $5 to $15. So they were after each and every IP that exposed RDP service, and they could get in. So they didn't have any preference. And the set of the IPs seemed to be like a mixed set, combining both home users, SMBs, bigger enterprises, and not so often, but governmental networks too. Unfortunately, I not said good in Chinese, so I see somebody is messaging supposedly Chinese. If could somebody translate that, I would appreciate. Then, where was xDedic server hosted? Information on the origin of the owner's servers. Well, what we know is that they're Russian speakers, and we don't know too much beside it. They were very careful protecting their identities, and same for the server. They used Cloudflare to protect the infrastructure from any kind of crawlers or web scrapers, from any kind of automated requests. They were also very cautious with the login panels that may require two-factor authentication if that's the partner logging into the system. And they also had some custom-built, home-built techniques to prevent automatic data download from this marketplace. So it took us really some time to implement, all the bypass and collect the full database from the website. Where were they hosted? We don't really know, because they used multiple layers of reverse proxies. So we don't know where is the final server located. We have a couple of IPs. Some of them belongs to Cloudflare. Behind Cloudflare there was a German IP, but we don't think this is the final one. It was probably just another proxy. What kind of organizations in Indonesia was being attacked? Is it from financial government or something else? So for Indonesia, as for any other country, again, we may have some of their names according to the whois information, but we honestly don't want to point finger at anyone. So we will cooperate with CERTs, national CERTs, and we will report all the IPs to the computer emergency response teams to take care of the servers. But we don't really want to mention any names of any private company that was affected by this. Okay, I'd like to ask, such a large black market, is the market demand for industrial product defects caused by the drawbacks of which, whether there is a consideration? Not sure if I understand the question correctly, but guess it's about how could we prevent this? As I explained in the end of presentation, people can definitely prevent such situation by using strong password, by using proper security policies, installing reliable security software in their systems, and that could be prevented. The black market as this is not completely new. The concept of selling credentials from the hacked servers has been with us for a while. I mean, for a couple of decades, there were attempts to sell stolen credentials on underground forums and peer-to-peer communications, but it is the first in history a marketplace of such size where we see so many compromised servers listed. So definitely it is unique. Next question. Is there a reason why Brazil had the most number of hacked servers for sale in May? Okay, talking about Brazil, and by the way, when you saw May, you probably saw that this is statistics for just 1 month. Now it is statistics for all the time since they started operating, and that is December 2014, I think. So May means this is where we collected last time the whole database from their website by going there and fetching all that what was available on the web interface. So why Brazil is number one? Yeah, once again, we can speculate why. Maybe it has more unprotected systems with weak passwords or vulnerable non-updated software from one side. From the other side, it may be that other countries have higher numbers of weak servers exposed to the internet, but they're just being bought faster. So they are all sold because there's a huge demand on other IPs from the criminals, and they have a higher priority for other countries. That's why other countries may go down after some time. Because what we see in the marketplace is the offering. It is the servers that were not purchased by anyone. It's kind of leftovers, so to say. Next question. Do you have your study published? Where can I access the study? Yes, we have published this research on our website. It's securelist.com. So if you go to securelist.com, oh sorry, I'm missing it. Everyone. On the main page, you should be able to find a link to a short article, and in the bottom of the article there is a link to the full PDF paper with charts and stats. So please check it out. Next question. Have you come across such cases in India in recent months? Not sure which cases do you mean exactly. So if you're wondering like if there were any major attacks that happened in India that relate to xDedic marketplace, we cannot say, we cannot mention any because we may not be aware of. Typically, these bad guys just pushes the server, and then what happens with it is, deemed in shadow. We don't know what happens with it, but who knows? We will share. We already shared the list of Indian IPs with the local authorities, and if that pops up somewhere, they will know that this is related to xDedic. Okay, next question. From Malaysia. Can you give example of cases of cyber attacks originating from servers that sold on xDedic? Yes, I just thought it's impossible to connect any specific cyber attacks to the servers sold on xDedic because we don't know what's happening there. How do we get into the server? How do we evade the detection? How did we get in? We just had to figure out what do they exactly use to protect against automatic download of the data from scripts and bypass that. That's kind of implementing a technical bypass, so to say, studying how the browser issues requests and how do they detect the browser and then just mimicking the browser. It takes some time, but technically it is possible. It just slowed us down. We didn't break the server. That means we just web scraped everything that was available for the buyers on the marketplace. And Malaysian servers that were compromised. Are the GOC government? Well, hard to say. Have to look into this again. But we are not going to mention any specific names of the companies anyway. This has to be handled by Malaysian CERT. So we'll pass the APs to the CERT. Why Malaysia in top 10? Weakness in cybersecurity system in Malaysia. Yeah, once again, the position in top 10 doesn't mean that just be the weakest country, but it is also maybe just less interest of the cyber attackers currently to use Malaysian APs. But the number of servers in Malaysia put on this marketplace is quite alarming anyway, because in Malaysia it's over 2,100 servers, which is quite a lot. So we can definitely talk about problems with information security in Malaysia. Did you find any compromised RDPs at other security firms? It would be ironic if so. No, we haven't. We even didn't look into this, to be honest. Okay. The servers used to have very good security. Why there are 70,000 compromised servers? Well, it is maybe a common belief that the servers have use good security, but it really depends on the administrator of the server how good is the security. That's why it's not always the case. And also do not forget that sometimes there may be not even servers. It can be home machines converted into a server by just enabling the RDP servers and then creating an account and putting on this account on marketplace. Next question. You said xDedic is a marketplace. Is this a one-way marketplace? An example, only selling, or was it two-way where they would also be buying compromised credentials from hackers? Yeah, the xDedic is a marketplace that facilitated both selling and buying the credentials. So it was kind of eBay. Somebody external comes and creates a bid for the server, puts the price he thinks is appropriate, and then waits for somebody else to come and buy this offer. And the xDedic owners would, in the meantime, verify that the credentials are valid, the server is online, and collect some basic system information, like which software is installed, whether it is blacklisted by any of the known systems or servers, and then we will check whether antivirus is running, whether you have admin privilege in the server, and so on. So they just facilitated the process. Okay, another question. You mean to say that all servers sold on xDedic were compromised? Yes, that is so. This or another way, they were compromised. Whether it was a guest administrator password or maybe a backdoor deployed on the server, or maybe a software breach in another network service exposed to the internet, there was some kind of compromise. Somebody had unauthorized access. What was the most expensive server and where was it located? Good question. I should have checked that. I didn't check that, honestly, but I can check it now because I do have the database. Let me see. Just a moment. Okay. Oh, wow. Unbelievable, that's true. That is strange. There is a... Yeah, I totally missed that point. Very good question. Thank you for this. It seems like there is a number of servers, I think up to 40, 50 servers that cost a lot. So the most expensive costed $6,000. Then there are 4 of them that costed $4,000. Let me see where it is. The $6,000 server was based in Chicago, United States. It was pretty recent. It was added in April. Wow. And as for the $4,000, all these 4 servers were also located in the United States. So I guess there is a very high demand for the US servers. Some of them are super expensive. That's interesting. So there's just one server that costed $6,000 and 4 servers that costed $4,000. And all of them are in the United States. Don't know whether it is banking servers or not, hard to tell. Because from the marketplace we have only first 2 octets of the IP address, and I cannot really tell you like what the exact address. We just have this subnetwork information. Let me just quickly see. There is some specific organization. This 6,000. Service. Okay, this one. Doesn't say anything, it just say the ISP name and the whois information. The network, so it's not very clear what kind of organization behind it. But yeah, very, very good question, thank you. Another question, next one is, just to clarify, Philippines ranks 48 in the most number of servers being sold in xDedic. That's correct, yes. We made a top everything by country, and Philippines was, I think, yeah, let me double check. Where is Philippines? Yeah, it's 48th position with 228 servers. Okay. Another question. As opposed to other cybercrime as a service marketplaces that are hosted on underground networks like Tor, I am finding more such instances where such services are now available on the local web. Yeah, I was quite surprised that these guys were so confident that nobody's going to shut them down, that they run on the Surface Web. This was quite surprising to me. And so was when I saw another malware as a service platform known as JSocket that we have talked about earlier this year. We did an announcement in February. And there was also a one-stop shop for the bad guys to buy in one place new freshly built malware that is undetected by most of the antiviruses, by VPN access and obfuscator, packer, and a bunch of other tools and services for them to commit crime. And they were all running on the Surface Web. They didn't even try to protect themselves. I don't know what is the explanation, whether it is just beginners, or maybe they started the project when it was small and they were not afraid of anything, and over time it became a huge monster, and they just continued running it the same way. Maybe that's the explanation. Another question, any way of knowing who the buyers might have been? Script kiddies, spies, government agencies, etc. Or no way to know? No, unfortunately there is no way to know. I assume most of them were criminals, because this is what they hint on their website, on the way how you can use RGP. It was initially designed like by criminals for criminals, and there's apparently mostly just cyber criminals usage that they recommend. However, any spy agency or any corporate espionage hackers would get in if they were able to find an interesting server in specific network in specific country, then they would be interested in purchasing that. And when we went to the website when it was still up, we searched for a keyword government and ministry in the field which was used to search for kind of owner or organization running the IP. We've seen quite a few matches from the ministries and governmental networks. And when we try to get these IPs, some of them are not available. I mean, the search criteria is there, is kind of in the list. Like the ministry of, let's say, there was, I think, well, it was the ministry of specific country. Now we look for it. There was no positions on the marketplace anymore. That meant that somebody has purchased that to abuse it. Okay, next question. When you say notable breach, you mean that they bought and must now be using the compromised servers? No, that means that these servers were compromised and they belong to quite an important companies or organizations in the world. That's why we call it notable, because this is not a regular home user. Okay. Next question. You said that among the notable breaches are banks in Philippines. Is this just one bank or two? And can you identify which banks? When you say notable breach, you mean that they bought and must now be using compromisers? Okay, it's the same question but extended. As for the bank names, I think it was a couple of them, if I'm not mistaken, because there was a list of IPs from two different networks. And yeah, once again, this information will be provided to the computer emergency response teams because we don't want to blame specific companies. And there is not enough proof that this is directly associated with the company. Let's say if you see the ISP name, it can be either the ISP infrastructure themselves or maybe an infrastructure that they rent to their customers, they lease to the customers, and so on. So we don't want to create any confusion. Also, we don't have confirmation that this server is compromised at the moment when somebody will check it, and we don't want to create false accusations. That's why it's better just to notify the affected company specially, and they will take care of this. I hope you understand and share our thinking. Alright. If I missed any questions, please repeat them now. Okay, we have another one. In Thailand, we have many newborn SMEs, and 60 to 75% of them is on the internet, but many of them, even some of the server distributors, are still not aware about cyber threat. If this keep continuing, can you forecast the number of servers that will get attacked? Well, that's a good question, yes. I totally agree that normally small and medium businesses, they don't pay enough of attention to cybersecurity. You know, all these startup stories, they start from very cheap software. Some of them even use pirated software to make it even cheaper, and they definitely are not after any good security solutions. They will use anything free or just avoid using security solutions at all, which makes them a very easy target for the criminals. And yeah, I totally agree with you that they may be very easy victims, and that's why we see a lot of positions on such marketplaces coming from the small and medium enterprises. So far, as for the forecast, well, you can take the latest numbers we have in terms of how many servers were added per month recently. So in May, it was almost 10,000 servers, new servers added globally, So next month, that has to be like averagely the same 10,000 more. From that, you can perhaps calculate based on the fraction of the servers from Thailand specifically, and get an idea of how many servers in Thailand can be handled. If you want exact numbers for Thailand, I can give you a chart as I promised and send it over. Then you will see how many servers averagely were added per month in Thailand. Okay. Next question. But it is confirmed that there are Philippine banks that bought the servers from xDedic. No. The banks would not buy any servers from xDedic because xDedic is an underground marketplace to sell and buy compromised accounts, right? So I guess banks would probably buy from legitimate ISP and use the servers if they need. What we found was that some of the servers were compromised by one of the gang that traded on the xDedic using, and they used the backdoor. So we sinkholed communication of that backdoor, and we received incoming connections from the networks that were marked as networks belonging to a couple of banks in the Philippines. Sorry for the long answer, but that means there were servers, compromised servers that belonged to Philippine banks. Okay, so the banks did not purchase anything on the xDedic. Any other questions? Okay. I'm so happy I have so many questions. It's the first time I received so many. Have APAC servers been notified on the details of the compromised servers in the region? What guidance do I have for organizations that might have an RDP credentials to their servers sold on xDedic? Is there any way organization can check if they are on the list? Yeah, we have distributed and we are still continuing to send out the information to the relevant parties in APAC and globally. And that includes IPs of the compromised servers. What guidance do we have? Well, our suggestion is first of all to read about xDedic Marketplace, what it is all about, just to understand why and how to put these IPs in the context. And as a recommendation, as I told you, well, it's security policies, it's strong password policies, it's security software that has to be in place on the servers. But generally, our first advice is to we recommend to go and check the server. We record the IP, and that IP may be already down, maybe it has never been up, maybe some kind of false positive, maybe it is a dynamic pool and the IP changes from time to time. So we are not sure. We are providing what we see, and the servers and the owners have to inspect what happened to the server. As a general advice, we recommend to look into the system log, because some of the attackers could have forgotten about cleaning up the logs, and there will be records, or at least you will see the cleaned system log, system event log, and that would also be an indicator that somebody, altered the event log and probably something shady is going on here. You should put the server offline and reconfigure, maybe reinstall, check for the malware, check for created credentials, and remove all of them that you do not recognize. Okay. Is there any way organizations can check if you were on the list? Well, we don't want to create like mass hysteria now and to let all the people rush in to check in whether they are listed in the xDedic. So we're working another way. We will work through certs and let them notify only those customers that are affected. But if you see like a very, very big corporation that has strong concerns, and this is very important, we can definitely check it manually. Just approach our our colleagues. Is there anything Microsoft can do to make RDP more secure, to make such hacking more difficult, beyond the advice we gave in the presentation for individuals and companies to follow? Well, that's a good question, yes. RDP server is very old service. It's been around for quite a long time, and it has upgraded its protocol version several times. But in terms of authentication, there were very little changes, like disabling connections with empty password and so on. So maybe if Microsoft could implement at least some kind of check that those accounts that have guessable or weak password cannot be used for RDP session, that would definitely help. If they could have a list of most popular passwords, or generically implement procedures that recognizes this guessable password and prevent this to be used for remote session, that would protect such systems from being listed on the marketplace as xDedic. Also, does running Kaspersky security on your computer protect you from such hacks? Yeah, another good question, and answer is surprisingly no, or maybe not surprisingly for many of you, because Kaspersky or any other antivirus vendor is not going to protect you from the simple password you chose for your system. So that's not the purpose of security software. So if you are willing to use very weak password, nobody can stop you from this unless there is a local system policy or corporate policy that forces you to do that. So it cannot be addressed easily with security software. But once again, security software may help you detect backdoor if the bad guy that compromised your server would like to deploy a backdoor on the server. Okay, any other questions?
Alright, guys, I think we've come to the end of the session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to actually send it over to me. I'll put out my email address shortly, and what I can do is I can actually forward this question to Vitaly, and he can take it up by a written format.